Thanks to indie games, we've been able to play titles that, despite not having huge production budgets, rival major releases in terms of quality. They offer good stories, but above all, their gameplay is excellent. Something that's impressive, since with few resources and staff, they managed to achieve successful results, even more so than large companies with years of experience and an impressive catalog of titles. This makes you think that if a person has a good idea and knowledge of design and programming, maybe having a multitude of teams and employees isn't so necessary to make it happen. One of those games that stands out in this regard and has had great public acceptance, gaining many fans in a short time, is Cuphead. This game was produced and distributed by MDHR Studio, a Canadian company that developed this game over several years and saw the light of day in 2017. It was released for Xbox One and PC, where it can be purchased on the Windows 10 store or on the Steam digital platform. It features a direct inspiration from 1930s cartoons with a hand-drawn animation aesthetic. In fact, this game was created from hand-drawn artwork and digitized, giving it the feel of an artistic piece. The game begins with two inhabitants of the Inkwell region who are at a casino, Cuphead and his brother Mugman, having an excellent winning streak at the dice. This catches the attention of the devil, who appears before them offering a very tempting deal. If they win the next roll, he will make them richer than they could ever imagine. However, if they fail, the devil will take their souls. Mugman warns his brother, but Cuphead, blinded by greed, rolls the dice, fails, and rolls snake eyes, losing. The brothers beg the demonic entity for mercy, and he agrees on the condition that they collect the contracts that other inhabitants made with him and bring them to him in person before midnight the next day. To fulfill their task, the brothers go to Elder Kettle, who gives them a potion to defend themselves and warns them that the sneaky debtors will defend themselves in different ways, including the ability to change form. The game can be divided into two types of gameplay. The main one is a boss rush, meaning we will directly face bosses without the need to go through a level to reach them, and we must deplete their health to beat them. The other levels, which are secondary, are run and gun levels, that is, platforming levels where we have to reach the end, but to advance we need to shoot enemies, and we cannot go back on the screen, we only move forward or upward. In both types of gameplay, the mechanics are the same. We shoot by snapping our fingers, and we can switch between two weapons that we've equipped on our character. We can jump to get a better position on a platform, we can dodge attacks with a dash, and we have the ability to hit certain pink-colored things. To do this, we must jump over them, and at the precise moment, press the jump button to activate the parry. All of this must be used at the right time in each level. Additionally, we can play with a second player, who will control Mugman. When that happens, the levels increase in difficulty, as enemies take twice as many hits compared to playing solo. The game itself is very easy to pick up, but the challenge lies in the fact that the game has many enemies with very varied patterns, sometimes filling the screen to increase the difficulty. Bosses can be divided into two types. One where we are on a static or moving stage and face the character directly, and another where we use a plane. In the latter, we move freely to dodge everything. We have two types of attacks that we can't change. The parry activates automatically instead of jumping, and to dodge we can shrink our size, with the disadvantage that our shot range is very limited. To enter a level, we move around a main map and must reach it to access it. Sometimes the path is blocked to continue, so we need to beat one level to open the way. Also, on this map, we'll find some characters who give us clues. If we complete certain challenges, they'll give us coins. There might be some secrets, or they'll simply tell us things that help us delve deeper into the world of Cuphead. The secondary levels, while not essential to the plot, are necessary because they contain 5 coins each. We must collect them and finish the stage to receive them. These coins are used to buy charms or potions at Porkrind's shop. These are different types of shots or abilities. The attacks each have unique damage and impact patterns, while abilities allow you to have an automatic parry, invincibility frames when dashing, more hit points, among others. It's very important to switch between them. Since different bosses have different patterns and positions, and equipping one set or another might make it more comfortable for you. But in the end, if you prefer and feel better with one loadout, it's not strictly necessary to change. We also have a special power that charges when we deal damage to enemies with our weapon or perform parries. This charges a meter represented by cards. When activated, it unleashes a more powerful version of the shot we currently have equipped. When we fill the maximum, that is, 5 cards, we can perform a super attack that consumes the entire power bar. To obtain this super attack, we must go to the mausoleum of the area, where we have to rescue the legendary Chalice by defeating the ghost, holding her captive through parry jumps. Upon completion, she gives us this power. To equip everything, we can only do so on the main map by accessing our inventory. We can carry 2 different shots, one charm that grants a special ability, and one superpower. Our character withstands 3 hits per level, and there is no way to recover from damage taken. If we lose these points, we die and have to restart the level from the beginning, no matter how far we've advanced. That's where the challenge lies, because upon failing, the game shows us our progress and how much we had left to finish, encouraging us to restart immediately, hoping to do better and begin the battle again. But the truth is, it doesn't mean you will do better or worse. It's just a way to incentivize the player to keep going. If you play with 2 players when one dies, we have a chance to revive them while their soul is on the screen by performing a parry on it, which brings them back with 1 health point. The more deaths they have in that same attempt, the faster their soul flies away. If it flies away, they can still revive by taking a health point from their partner, as long as the partner isn't at the minimum. Once the level is finished, we are graded based on how long we took, how many specials we performed, the number of parries, and the hits we received. This adds replayability, encouraging you to beat your own score or your friends. We don't have lives, so you can try over and over until you learn the patterns and defeat the level. However, you can see how many deaths have accumulated in a special place on the main map. The bosses are very flashy and are usually inspired by different characters from other media or video games. They have very specific patterns, and as we deal damage, they change form, becoming more hostile the closer they are to defeat. Their attacks are unique and tend to fill the screen at times. They'll have companions walking around or attacking us. Some can be destroyed by our attacks, while others are indestructible and must be dodged, making each boss unique. A very important thing is that they genuinely feel like 1930s cartoons, not only because of the aesthetic, but mainly because, like their inspiration, they feature surreal transformations. This was very common in that era when trying to exaggerate a reaction, and in this game, we can see the same thing. As you can see, it has a vintage cartoon aesthetic from the backgrounds to the characters, complemented by a very fitting jazz soundtrack. It's one of those cases where it truly feels like you're playing a cartoon. So these aspects are unique and showcase the enormous work that went into making it. It's one of those games that, due to its graphics, music, and gameplay, becomes timeless. Every time you revisit it, you'll have fun, no matter the era, much like many classic games. It's worth adding that for 2019, a DLC was expected and later released, bringing more bosses, more stages, and Ms. Chalice as a playable character. I hope this increases the game's quality, polishing it with new enemies, and, why not, also including those we saw in the trial versions that weren't used in the final release. This game is enormously enjoyable with 2 players. Although the difficulty increases, it allows for plenty of laughs and coordination between the 2 to defeat the current boss. Besides, sometimes reviving your partner is a challenge in itself. Most hits feel justified. Either you didn't see an attack coming because the screen was filled with stuff, you got overconfident, or you panicked and accidentally hit something. It's a fair and difficult game. It's often called the Dark Souls of this type of game due to its difficulty. Personally, I've faced greater challenges. That doesn't mean it isn't hard, but I could list games that came out long before the one it's compared to, and that blow both out of the water. So it makes me think that those who make the comparison to Dark Souls need to broaden their knowledge of game titles. One strange thing that can work for or against you is that some bosses can glitch out and get stuck. This is good, especially when you're at the end and having a tough time, allowing you to vent your frustration on them for the suffering they caused. But they can also get stuck in a way that prevents them from transforming into the next phase, meaning the change never happens, forcing you to restart and ruining everything. I would recommend it to everyone. It's a very dynamic and addictive game, whether you like playing alone or with others. The bosses are characters you'll have in your mind for a long time, and there'll be one that becomes your favorite, whether for its design, difficulty, context, or transformations. Beating one that's been killing you repeatedly gives that incredible sense of victory. It's essential if you're looking for a challenge, and especially for people who value unique art. This game, from its visuals to its music, is unique. In fact, they're so well blended that you can enjoy it as a player or a spectator to the point where it could be classified as a work of art. I wouldn't recommend it to people who like playing online, as you can't do that here, at least not until the new DLC arrived. The run and gun levels are less impressive, not because they're bad, but because they're overshadowed by the boss rush, making us only tackle them when we need an upgrade, relegating them to a secondary role. The plane sections are entertaining, but I would have liked to have different types of shots in those segments instead of being limited to just 2 types. And the main drawback is that it's limited to Xbox One. If you don't have this console, you can play on PC, but if you don't have that either, you're forced to acquire one to play it. But overall, this title may very well earn a spot as one of your favorites. Its characters are iconic and unique. Its music and art are among the best in the medium. A tough but fair title, which is highly addictive. Its length is variable. You might finish it in a few hours, or it might take you a while, but it's accessible to everyone. It's great to see that an indie game can reach such heights. That is Cuphead. I hope you liked the video. If so, give it a like. If you know someone who might like it, share on your social media, and don't forget to subscribe if you like the channel. If you have any questions, suggestions, or just want to comment on something, don't hesitate to do so in the comments box below. Also, if you're a big fan of this channel, hit the notification bell to be among the first to see the videos. Thank you very much for watching this video. See you next time.